Why do Jews not eat pork? Because the Bible says so? They'll quote Leviticus calling pigs unclean and think that's all there is to it. But if you dig deeper, past the verses, and into dusty ruins and centuries of conquest, you'll find a story that isn't just about faith. It's about disease. It's about identity. It's about power. It's about survival against all odds. Let's start with the obvious. Health. Thousands of years ago, the Israelites lived in harsh desert lands. Food rotted quickly in the sun. Refrigeration was unheard of. And pigs were dangerous. They thrive in damp, muddy places, not scorching sand. They can't sweat, so to keep cool, they wallow in filth, often filled with parasites. Eating pork was like rolling dice with death. Parasites like trichinosis would fester inside you, pain, fever, even neurological damage. Imagine a whole family sick after a feast. No idea why, just assuming it was divine punishment. So labeling pigs unclean wasn't just moral, it was brilliant early public health. But then comes the part of history most people overlook. Because after the Israelites carved out their tiny kingdom, great empires began to rise. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, and finally the Greeks and Romans. With them came not just armies, but lifestyles. Lavish banquets, public feasts where roasted pork was served as a sign of civilization, modernity being part of the empire. Joining in meant showing loyalty to the new order. Turning down that roasted pig, it marked you as an outsider, a rebel, maybe even a threat, so the refusal to eat pork took on new meaning. It was no longer just about staying healthy. It became a quiet but powerful act of resistance. Imagine living under Roman rule, soldiers patrolling your streets, statues of Caesar towering above your marketplaces, and still refusing to join in their grand pork feasts? That silence at the table screamed louder than any protest. Throughout Jewish history, we see how crucial this became. When Antiochus IV tried to force Hellenistic ways on the Jews, one of his prime tactics was making them eat pork. It was a test of loyalty. Break the food law, and maybe you'd break everything else. Maybe you'd forget your old gods, your old customs, your old sense of who you were. And it didn't stop there. During the Middle Ages, forced conversions often started by making Jews publicly eat pork, humiliating them, trying to tear away the last thread of their identity. Why? Because if they could make you betray what you refuse to eat, maybe they could erase the rest of you too. Food is intimate. It's what you bring into your body. Sharing a meal is how communities bond. Marry someone, break bread with them, merge families, merge cultures. But if you can't eat the same things, you keep a distance. A cultural firewall. That's what pork bans did. They kept Jews distinct. They preserved lines that empires tried again and again to blur. And here's where it gets even darker. Because some rulers understood this power all too well. The Romans knew that festivals with communal meals were tools of unity. Christians later recognized breaking dietary taboos could bring Jews into the fold, or shame them into hiding. It's a story as old as time. Control the table, and you control the people. Strip away their food laws, and you begin stripping away their culture. Fast forward centuries, and the world changes. Empires crumble, science blooms. We discover refrigeration. We learn how parasites work. Pork becomes less deadly. So why do many Jews still avoid it? Because by then, it was no longer just about health. It was about memory. It's about telling future generations, this is who we are. This is how we survived. Even today, kosher labels sit on grocery shelves. Orthodox families meticulously clean kitchens to avoid even microscopic traces of pork or shellfish. Some secular Jews who might ignore other laws still skip the bacon, not always because they fear parasites or hellfire, but because their grandparents did, and their grandparents before them. It's tradition wrapped around trauma, passed down through whispered stories of persecution. And here's the haunting question. Would this people still exist without these barriers? Without food laws that kept them from merging into every empire's dinner table? Would they have vanished like so many other ancient tribes, swallowed by Rome, Persia, Greece? So next time someone rolls their eyes at religious food rules or laughs off keeping kosher as backward superstition, ask them to look deeper, because maybe it was never just about pigs. Maybe it was about identity under siege, about drawing a line so sharp that no conqueror could erase it, about declaring meal after meal, We will not become you. We remember who we are by what we refuse to consume. And that might be the most profound reason of all.